Stuart and Mark, good day. Peter, good day. James, good day, good morning. Mark Osborne, good day. So, it's all happening this week. It's like everything's sort of come together at once, to be honest. A lot happening. Had a weekend. Sunday. I don't know, I'm pretty exhausted at the moment. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's old CFS kicking in or whether I'm just a bit stressed or a bit over it all, or whether I just need more sleep, or whether I probably am not getting to bed in time and struggling to wake up in the morning. I don't know what it is. Anyway, I'm tired. Sunday did some chores and a bit of CAD work on a couple of projects that I'm sort of working on. It's an ongoing thing. Got some of that out of the way, and I sort of thought, what am I going to do this week? I don't know. But I got an email on, it feels a bit like that, Stuart. I got an email saying my laser cutting was done, so I went and picked that up and had a bit of a play with that on Monday and Tuesday. Yo, fridge. And did a bit of machine work too, so I don't know where to even start with all this stuff. Someone asked about edge finish on laser cut parts I got. They're pretty jolly nice. So, got a couple of these done. They need dents in the middle of them, but it's not a big thing. I've been trying that. I'm not very good at that. It doesn't seem to be working out for me. I don't know why. Works out for everyone else. So they need a dent in them, and I'm just going to get a ring, piece of steel ring, to sit them on. About what I think is the right diameter. Like a lump of hollow bar, and sit them in the middle. And then 50mm toe ball, probably. And push these down in the centre and see if we can keep them nice and flat and nice. That's the theory with that. Might have to straighten them out again afterwards and put some filler in them or something, but that's a job for that. I need one of them, and probably, you know what they are, Dan. Don't be a mug. Have a think about it. Get a grip. Somewhere here I have a genuine one. Absolutely no idea where. I believe that I have one here somewhere, which I measured up. I found it. Hang on. But I got stuff here everywhere. It's a bit of a read. Anyway. TMB, good day. Get a grip. Yeah, there's two of these on the roller, right? That's the cover for the steering gear. They've got to have a mound that looks something like that in them. We'll see. I've got a mate who says that's probably pretty straightforward. We'll see how we go with that. But anyway, there's two of them. One goes on, one's missing. This one goes probably back on the steering cover, right? It's a grease port. The other one's missing. It goes on the steer side wheel guard. there's actually a hole, or 2 holes there, and one of them's missing. So we've got to make one, put that back in place, because the dust's getting in. No one's fingers are going to get in because it's behind the wheel, and if anything's working down there with the wheels going around too, and you're a mug if you get that close to it. So, but that's a job, and I might sell the other one. We'll see. See how they turn out. This has been an ongoing project for a while. This looks like K9 out of the Doctor Who series. I apologise for that. Good question, TMB. We'll find out, I guess. I just took the dimensions for that off the drawing, so we'll see. We might have to stretch it a bit. Might have to heat them up and press them. We'll see how we go. We'll report back. Anyway, this is what I've been working on for a bit. It's sort of working. It's got some wire problems, and it's got some battery issues, and there's 2 little pop rivets that stick out here on the back that don't really work because they catch when you go in and out the door. They actually catch on the back of this here, which is not particularly clever. We've got a bit of a problem with that. So whether I put countersink rivets in them, or whether we actually just drill them out and spot weld it, something like that. Anyway, we'll get that. Hey, Randy. So that's got a... This has sort of been electronically, I've sort of tried this pretty well. It's got a buck converter board on it, a voltage converter, and that gives us your... What this is telling us is your power left in the battery. You press this. This is the output on the globe. These had fuel lamps in them. Kind of all right, but this will be much nicer. And that just slides in. It should just slide in there. If it wasn't for those 2 pop rivets, they'd slide in there very nicely. Bill's there. He's probably going to go to sleep. That's fair enough. So, that needs a little bit of fine tuning, but don't think they're going to flag that as a bomb. But anyway, we'll see how we go. Pretty happy with that. It just got a switch so you can reach in and switch them on and off. This battery, the 11.2 volt, 11.5 volt, whatever it is, LiPo battery, on this board with this globe burns for about, I don't know, I gave up after about 7 hours, and it still had enough voltage in the lamp to, it was still well above the output voltage on the board. So we'll should get a day's running or something out of this battery before we've got to recharge it. And then it's just a radio controlled battery charge. I pop rivet these, folded them up and put the tabs on them and pop riveted them there and there. And these worked out right. And I put those 2 rivets in the bottom, and they're sort of all right. This one needs a pop rivet in it too. But my pop rivet gun's rubbish. There we go. That's an observation. If anyone knows who makes a decent pop rivet gun, apart from the King Chrome Chinese imports and things, that actually has reasonable tolerances in it, so it actually pulls the rod and doesn't bust it off, and it doesn't swell it out so that you can't get the rod back out, and so that it doesn't come loose on the tension every time you use it, and doesn't have a wire clip that gets caught on the handle, so that every time you go to squeeze it, the wire clip's in the way and you've got to let it off and try again. Let me know when I buy one. I've been looking for a good pop rivet gun, so if anyone got any ideas, I'm down. So there you go, some homework for you. But this is a little, basically nominal 12 volt LED cob light, so these should be pretty good. I'm not sure about the fixing arrangement. It's just through a hole with a 3D printed collar pressed up there. I don't know if I like that. Might have to think of a better way of doing that. Might have to get like a shaft collar, steel shaft collar with an Allen key in it and put on there. Crimp them up a little bit to stop them coming out, because these will get pretty loose in time without too much trouble. So that's something we're looking at. Also, these wires here are a bit ordinary, and I was going to put these holes in here so they go through, and then I realised the battery is just a fraction short, so I may still put them around there so that this goes back through the hole the opposite way or something. Still looking at that. It's got the balance. I put this stupid tab in here that I bend up. I thought I'd bend up, and it'd hold the battery in, and probably the balance charge clip behind it too. But unfortunately, that doesn't work. So I might have to make another piece to go on the side here to clip that in to stop everything falling out. Anyway. Anyway, so that's what we got, and that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with them. If we can get 2 of them. They fold it up really nice. Everything goes together. Everything works. And they're the right height for here pretty well. I thought I might have had to move this up and down, but they were pretty well the right height. These both need issues. They got issues with the reflectors. This one sort of slides up and down. It sort of works. Anyway, we'll need them at some point. So pretty happy with them. We'll get them sorted. It doesn't look particularly good through this side panel. I'm not sure why they got a side glass on the outside. It's one of life's little mysteries why that's there. Feels like it should have orange glass or something in, or a bullseye or something, rather than plain flat glass that lets all the light out. I think they're nickel plated reflectors. They probably need a clean, and they just need adjusting so they don't fall down all the time. But give you some idea. This is pretty good, I think. Pretty happy with that. Looking at the light source there right in the middle. Looking right at it. So that's one job. That's not in there because of those 2 pop rivets. I'm going to have to think of a better way of doing that. Mate's got a spot welder. I might have to go and hit him up for that. Or I've got a friend who's pretty good with a TIG. Might get him to TIG him. We'll see how it goes. But they need to be fixed. They're the pieces. So there's one for the backlight as well, or 2, a spare one as well. And a couple more of these left. So I'm going to spare one of these too, but this is the one for that fold up. That's how that looks. Be nice to have a laser cutter kicking around that would actually cut this. Do this sort of work, because if you want to prototype something, it'd be very nice to make up another one at a minute's notice without having to have a minimum charge for the cutting. So tea and biscuits, to answer your question about surface finish, this is the finish on these. Right, they got a little burn dot there where the laser's burned out, but everything's really nice. No burrs on them. Pretty damn good, actually. see that. But anyway, so that's how that works. Anyway, I got in, did some machine work on Tuesday. A bit more, so look at some of this stuff as we go. This is for our 32 volt generator. We've got a nice taper lock 12-inch pulley to gear this down because the generator's direct geared to about a 7-inch pulley or something off the flywheel on the portable. It doesn't quite run quick enough. Like, it doesn't get up and go to the extent that it probably should, and because the engine's got to run flat out and there's hardly any load on it. So what we thought, we'd glue and gear it down 2 to 1 or 1.8 to 1 or something and put a shaft in it. So we had a couple of bearing blocks and we found new inners for them to go on here, and the pulley goes in the middle, and we've got Christian's made up brackets and stuff for it. I've got this shaft and I've put a keyway in it yesterday. There you go, that'll do. It's in the middle. It's obviously in the middle because that actually fits. Because it's a taper lock pulley, it pulls down onto the shaft, so they don't tend to be tight up and down, but it's not bad this way. So I think that'll do the job very nicely. So that's one job did. There's the 2 screws that we can't forget to hold the taper lock together. Mark left me his injector, or the remains thereof, to get make a nut or 2 of these, and his has got a nasty bulge in it too. Belts are ordered on their way. Got to go at some point one night. One morning, I don't know whether it's going to be tomorrow morning or the next morning, and pick them up. If I'm feeling enthusiastic and the traffic's good, I'm going to try tomorrow morning, but it might be Friday morning. Anyway, sorted. Anyway, need 2 of these nuts. They're a bit ugly. And all these nuts have got the same problem as mine. 2 dear, didn't post it. Pain in the ass. Anyway, they've all got the same problem in that they pull out like this. So, not the end of the world. So spent a bit of yesterday working on these. So they just need thread, and that's an easy job. Not much more left to that. Got these. Hey Nigel, hope you're feeling a bit better. Got some of these. We haven't got a spare sight glass, so we're in trouble. We've got test cocks, so if we break a glass, I'm guessing that's what we do to limp home. But anyway, this is an ongoing issue with my roller, and I think with everyone's roller. And I found a drawing for this part, and I've modernised it a little bit. But this is they call it a lynch pin. Standard, it's on I think it's on the drawing, it's called a lynch pin. It's sort of a cotter. Right, and they go through the slots on the pins underneath the ash pan, hold it in place, and there's 6 of them. And this is the shape of them. I've done them in 2 halves. There's 2 different pieces, and we'll put them together, and we're going to put a spot of weld here and a spot of weld here, right, and bend them out a bit at the end so that they stay tight won't need much because it's a pretty neat fit, I think, in the hole. Might have to get under there with a file and clean all the holes out so they fit. So let's stop them coming out. And then we're going to put rings in here, probably. Like a stainless steel ring. And we're going to put wire ropes. Between the three down each side. So they're a bit further apart than this, but to give you some idea, this goes one in each hole, and we're going to put a rope here from here to here to here, right? Not hanging down too far, but on there. And that way, if we need to drop the ash pan, we can just grab hold of the rope and pull the lot of them out. And we haven't got 6 separate bits to get lost. You've only got 2 things to get lost in the dirt. You can throw them aside, or you can hand them to, and they're easy to sieve through and sort of get with the rake or whatever if they ended up with a heap of ash on them or whatever. So that's the theory there, and I've got a couple of sets of them cut, one for Mark as well, so that's awesome. My Dan says that way you don't lose one, you lose them all. Hopefully you don't lose any of them, because at the moment you've only got either ugly bits of tin that you really don't know. They look like they've come off an old pallet out of the fire. Anyway, they're sorted. They need welding up, but they're fixed. This plate's Mark's too. Right? It's a new guard or new front for the guard, which should be exact size. I hope it's the right size to go on his guard. So new plate there. That should tidy everything up. I'll get that to him as soon as I can. Job's done, because I noticed his is all rusted out. So, job's done. Fix that. Now, what else to come with? What else did I get? Oh, to give you some idea of the difference between a D and a T3 roller, just a rough idea. Put the T3 down underneath so we can't tell. But this looks to be sort of the same piece, but when you actually get them out, it's a difference. So quite a bit bigger all round. So this one here, I'm probably going to hit up Welder Mark to actually fix these for me. So I've got this, because mine needs a complete new cover. It's a bit ugly. Let's have a look at this. The cover's here too. Now, the drawing's different to the roller, which is one of those things that I probably should check more often. I think it's savable, but this is the actual cover. It's ugly, and it's on there. It's got riveted on lugs here, 1, 2 here. It's got a slot in this side, and it's got a hole in the other side where the where that plate goes on. If we have a look at it, this one here, geez, it's ugly. This goes here, something like this, sort of, and keeps the dirt out. It swings around to grease it. So that's what that's for. This looks like it's probably cut out with like a rat tail file and a gas axe. Don't know. And it's all MIG welded, or it's all stick welded together. And there's some holes and brackets and things in it. Now, See, it's got holes in it and it's pretty well rusted through. It's ugly. This will go back on for now, but we're going to use these brackets and rivet them in place or whatever. Might be a fun little riveting job. And weld probably that plate back in on the piece once we get it all rolled up to match. Now this goes, oh my gosh, how does it go? I think it goes about like that, right? On the roller, something like that. The roller shaft goes through here and the worm's in here. There's this hole in here for something. No idea what that's for. It's a bit of a mystery. You can see daylight through this if you really look. This, oh crap. We put this light down here, you can see holes. So there's holes all around and it's pretty well worn out and it's ugly. Said that before. There's holes in here, holes in the bottom, and this is very thin here. So what I've done is I've got a drawing for this piece for my roller. Never had one for Mark's. We copied his out on a piece of plywood or a piece of old cupboard or something, and I've drawn his up to match that, so I know his is going to fit. However, if we have a look at this, when I start looking, right, this is very close. This is right, this is right, this is right. This is not right here. Now, I don't think it's wrong, but I think it's not right. This is different here. There's two things we can do, but what I believe is meant to be, and the reason, I'm not sure why they've done it like this. I think this is original, but I don't know. Is that if you turn this bracket round so it's on the outside rather than on the inside, the same as this one is, then this is still the right shape, because I think these holes will still line up. So at this point I'm probably going to just go with this and put the bracket on the other side like the drawing says. Why mine's different, I don't know. It's a mystery. But there's nothing in this corner here. You've got a gear in here and you've got a worm through here. So there's nothing actually in this corner. I made that to the pattern, and I'm suspicious that this may have been remade at some time and it's not the pattern. Why did I go off the part? It's not the original part, because the original part's a very difficult thing to measure. And I didn't measure the bolt holes, so I sort of know that it would fit. So anyway, not a big deal. So we're going to go back to the plans for this one, because I reckon this is not original, or it's been modified, or it's been fixed, or whatever, some point in the past. Maybe it might be original. These are still riveted, so it could be. But for some reason, someone's either changed the plan, which they were really good at. 4 years down the track, they thought of a cheaper way to make it, or an easier way to make it, and discovered that that was easier to rivet them from the inside, from the outside rather than the inside, and changed it. So there we go. Anyway, got this as well. Alright, look at us go. Check this out, right? This has got the holes for the rivets, right? For the standoffs, these bits here. Have a look with the light. These bits here, which are original, and it's got a slot for the shaft, which I hope the shaft goes through, and it's got a hole for the foiler and interestingly, yeah, these are in the right spot, but interestingly, this hole may not be. So I might have to drill another hole in here when we start looking at that, because this goes here like this. Not the end of the world, but this is the second hole, and I don't know why that's there, but it's in both of them. So I'm going to have to look at that, because it's probably actually meant to be something, because it's in the drawing and it's in this. So it's meant to do something. Don't know what it is. But not a big deal to drill a hole in this as well. So prototyping stuff, there's always some stuff up, but I think this will be fine. I'm pretty confident with this. That's the piece that needs to be rolled up. Yeah, absolutely, the laser cut is the way to make these. This is really nice. If you were to cut this out with a hole saw and a grinder, it would take you forever. It would be ugly, and yeah, there's a bit of guesswork involved. So this needs some bends in it to match this, like some radius bends. What I'll probably do is just take it down to my favourite sheet metal worker and say, roll this up to match this. Put 4 tacks on it, whatever. Mark the ends where it needs to be. The ends need to be here somewhere. I think the end of it's sort of here. And this end, there's a bracket there. There. Then it comes around here to this bracket here. And then it comes up here to this bracket here. And then there's a slot on this side here. And then it comes around the corner up the top there, and then the holes here. So I think this will be very nice. It's going to be a mission. Yeah, absolutely. But a decent, someone who knows their machine pretty well will be able to do that without any problems. And I've been promised that it can be done. So we've got this for a template. All we've got to do is make that the same to fit the outside of it, or to fit the diameter or the edge of it inside there. If we do that, then we can take it up and get it going, and probably mess around and find some rivets. I've got to find, what is there, 2, 4, 6 rivets, 6 3/8 inch, 5/16 rivets, something like that. Anyway, this might not happen until after the National Rally, but it's there ready to go. And anything's going to be, and this is going to be grey with a nice white stripe around it, which will definitely be an improvement on the Caterpillar yellow primer and the black paintbrush job, which is not real good in places after many years. So not a lot of paint left on that. I'd very much like to have them. Do I have the plans for them? No, it would come out of our head, actually. You measure them up. Oh no, those sides for that roller. No, I don't think I have the plans. I'll have to think about that. Yeah, there was 2 rollers there, and one of them's in that box of stuff. I'll have a think about that. Maybe is the answer. But I think the old man probably made them up out of his head. And you might have to do the same. Anyway, so that's a lot of bits. A lot of bits. We'll keep going with the bits. These are for mate Phil. He requested these for some railway sign he's restoring. They're a really nice job actually. So I'll deliver them at some point. Phil's got a heap of bits for the roller. The other exciting thing that happened was that I got new floor mats for my Ford, for my transit van. And this may be of some interest to people because this is the fitting instructions. Installation instructions for floor mats. Ford motor car 2015. Subject to alteration without license. So this is my vehicle here. Now, there you go. You can fit your floor mats now. You've already seen that. But 8 pages of instructions on how to fit your. This is a glossary of what all the pictures mean. Right, left hand and right hand drive. How they fit, how they go. Just in case you're too dumb and you didn't look at them when you pulled the old ones out. Don't know what this I symbol is. It's not actually on the list, but it's 4 to 11. Don't know what that is. I don't think it's an age group. For the right hand drive, they go that way around. This one goes along here. It's not quite the same as this, but anyway, they fitted nicely. This has a picture that you cut out 4 of. Don't have a clue what that's for. There's also this thing here. Very little idea what that is. I think that bit goes in the floor, but they already had 4 of them, or 3 of them, or 4 of them, or whatever. This picture here. There must be a floor mat along the side that's available too. Never seen that one. I think it's in there. If you want to replace it, that must be where that goes. Exclamation mark. Look at 3. Look at 4. Look at 3 for this one, obviously. 3 is this one. For this one, we need to cut these bits off here, apparently. Got that? I didn't cut them off and they seem to fit just fine, but they might be better with them cut off. It's a Stanley trimmer job. I might even do that at some point. Number 4 is for the for this fan, apparently. See, I'm getting the hang of this. This is a mirror image too. I don't know why that is. So there must be one of them on each side for that. Left and right hand side's mirror image in this van. It's got no idea about these things that go in the floor, but whether they're templates or whether you cut them out, I don't know. Good question. Anyone's ever done this, you can tell me, but I didn't. These, don't know what the story is with them. You've got to cut the bottom out or something. I didn't, but they all seem to clip in nicely. So I don't know. It's obviously something I don't know about. But they clipped very nicely into the floor mats. This obviously must be the piece that goes in to retain them. And this is the driver's side piece here. No idea. I don't think you're supposed to leave them loose. Because it's dangerous and it gets up under the pedal and stuff. And whatever they are, don't know. But there you go, installation. You cut slots in the carpet and the clip things go through them. Okay. Anyway, I think the clip things are already there because they didn't come with the mud flaps. They were with the floor mats. They weren't expensive. They weren't expensive at all. And I've been thinking I needed to because they had 4-wheel drive floor mats in over the top of them, but they were all a bit ugly. So anyway, it's tidied it up very much. They're about $110 or something like that. Anyway, Dan's obviously done that before. I didn't think it was justified. And to put these bits in, you've got to actually, it's a separate part number. They didn't come with the floor mats. Anyway, that's of some interest probably. A lot of messing around. I just went out and unclipped the old ones and put them in and clipped them back in, and they seem to fit. So that's sort of all the application that I did. Got that fixed. Right, so that was how we went, basically. That's what happened on the weekend. Didn't get a lot done on the truck. I masked it up and put a coat of spray primer on it nicely and sanded it all back to 1200 or 1500 or 1800 or something. Fairly fine and nice. And if I get our doors hung, then we'll work out a way to do that. Then probably we can we can probably put a top coat on. That just reminded me of that because this is the colour. I think this is the colour at this point. A gloss on top of it, but I think that's the colour we're painting the truck. I don't know if that's good or bad, but there we go. I was going to bring in the motion covers, but they're too big, really, and they need bending and stuff. And I'm going to take them down to Dan's, and we're going to hold them up and sort of see how they look. That's where we're at with that. And there's some work for, I think I brought some of the bits in. Did I bring some of the bits in? Yeah. Here we go. These bits, motion cover brackets. These are 12mm. They're pretty solid actually. They ain't going to fall off. But these need a dog leg in them. And I might get there's 4 of them for the back. I might get Phil, who's the blacksmith, to put a dog leg in these so that they're offset the distance of the, basically they go behind the horn plate or the bearing plate on the side of the boiler with a bolt through them, and then they offset the thickness of the bearing plate so that they're out level. And then in the other side there's these go on the studs on the hope they go on the studs on the back cylinder covers, right? And these will be welded. So one on this end on the front, a weld in the end here, when we work out exactly where they need to be and the length of them. And these ones go on the back, and the motion covers sit between them and go around the corner here with a bit of a gap up against the motion cover, up against the back cylinder cover. It sits on top of it, and then there's a curve, and they sit on here. They bend round here, and on those covers, which are quite big, they're 700 by 400, something like that, millimeters. Plates go. That plate there goes on it on one side, and another plate goes on the other side, which is a fairly big plate. So that's all sort of ready, and then this brass somehow goes around the outside. which gives you something else to polish. So it's all coming together, really. These are all things that have actually been like thought about and done, and it's all been a little while coming because there's a bit of a stack of it, but now it's all looking pretty good. We've got all these bits, and we get some of these bits on, will make a big difference to it. I did price the length of 4140, 4 inches diameter, 405 diameter, and 105 diameter, and 10 inches long or something. Gee, 250 long. The worms are 4 inch diameter and they're 4.5 inch long. No lagging on the boiler. No, correct. Affirmative, there isn't any lagging on the boiler. It's a bit of a job, and there's a lot of these sort of bits on it. We'll get this sorted anyway, and then we're probably going to think about it next year. Get it sorted and get that back on. It'd be very nice. But there you go. That's all sort of slowly coming together too. I've got most of the bits for that. It's just a matter of cleaning up, painting it, and getting it down there and making a frame for it. And Phil's going to give me a hand with it, which is really nice. So hence all the favours for him recently. Make a steel frame for it and then clamp it on and put some screws in it and put the brass bands on it and have a good job of it, because it needs doing. But not going to happen before the National Rally. That's where we're at with that. Anyway, that's roller progress, and it's all about steamroller and stuff this week. Sorry, and other projects down at there's also some plates in the box there for. I've got to sort all this out tomorrow night too. See what's sort of flat pack it a bit and get rid of the pallets. I can put the mattress back in the van, because this weekend I'm going to Dan's. Come hell or high water, probably more hell or high water than anything. So, what was I going to say? One thing I need to do is get this thread cutting attachment up and running to cut these, and a few other threading jobs that I've got to do. Not the end of the world, but that's sort of on the list of things that I'd like to do very soon. So watch that spot for this. I'll watch this spot for that, or whatever you're going to do. This guard, I've sort of had a thought about it. Right. And I've had a thought and a think about it for a bit. Not sure I've sort of got to anything, but what I'm going to do is just get all that tacked up and finished and painted, and I'm going to cut the side out of that bit of steel plate when I take this top off, because I really need to do a few jobs on the shaft up here and the reversing gear and stuff. So at this point we're probably going to put a splash guard on top of it. We need to do something about these, because this is not ideal, because it's a pain in the neck to oil. But these two middle ones, if we have a look, are both loose pulleys, right? So in that position, it doesn't really turn anything over. Hey John. At this position, it doesn't really turn anything over. And when you slide it this way, it goes backwards, and if you slide it the other way, it goes forwards. Right. Now, these are the same pulley with the lock nut, but this lock screw doesn't actually do anything. It's just in there. If you have a look, where is it? There it is. Right, with the see it there, with a screw in it. So to oil these, you've got to slip the belts off, unscrew that screw, and fill them up with oil, and put the screw back in, which is a pain in the right roll pain in there, in the backside really. So I'd like to devise a better way of doing that. I like spring-loaded oilers in them, to be honest. This is what I'd really like. I'm a bit of a fan of spring-loaded oilers. So whether I just make a cap and a spring, because they still get hot and dry out and stuff, and that grease is really the answer. So I'm going to make caps for these that screw in, and probably a spring and a ball bearing. That's my thoughts. And then we've got, like, we can just hit them with oil can and forget about them. So that would be good. I'd also like to take some shims out of these bearings and a few things, because 15 years on, it's done a bit of work. I'd like to pull this off and put a oil guard or dust guard or whatever over the top. And I'd like to cut a piece out of that for the guard. And if we're going to do that, I'd probably slip this four bolts out of this lathe and slip this off, and take this tabletop out back and give it a good sand up. Give it a bit of a clean up, birthday and a coat of varnish and stuff. So that's before Christmas, that job. There we go. Need to make a key for that and stuff. Probably going to drill that all the way through for a key, a pin all the way through this. Put a lock nut in the end of it, or a screw in the end of it to retain it, and have a piece that clips on over the top there. So that's that, and we need to do something with this end too. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of plexiglass on it. I just want to cover over the top. It's only going to be sort of horizontal. You won't actually see it, but it'll reflect a bit of light and a bit of dirt down there and stuff, and stop us worrying about splashes on the ceiling, which haven't actually happened yet, but they go about halfway up that sheet of plywood. Anyway, that's where I'm at with that. So that's what's going to happen. And you want something that if someone does knock a length of 4x2 over and it lands on it, it doesn't break, I think. So anyway, that's that. That's that. No actual thoughts about a rack, about the guard for this at all yet. No thoughts about that. I haven't got a solution. I might have to leave it for a bit. I'd like at some point to get the taco in this, and that's gone a bit cold because there's been some issues, but I think we're getting to that point that we've got the casting on there. It's a nice little guard, but we're getting to that point that this could go back on too, because I sort of know what's going on here. I've got sort of the piece made. It sits here like this, goes in the hole, and then the taco panel sits up here, which would be very nice. And rev counter and stuff would be very useful to be able to count turns on springs, stuff like that. So there we go. We've got this all turned around on the angle because we finished off those nuts last night. Put that chamfer on them. This is LG1, I think, bronze. So it's pretty hard stuff. It's what they need to be. Good stuff. It's pretty well covered of what we've done this week. There's been a few changes of plans in the last week, and nothing's really, as far as events and things, nothing's really set in concrete at this point. Speaking of things that are happening in the next few months, nothing's really set in concrete except the National Rally at this point. But more about that when it happens. Now, here's another thing that I was going to say, right? We are very, very close to starting a club at Shannondale, like a steam club, and with club rooms and stuff like that. It's sort of all getting a bit sort of close to actually happening. It's a pretty big thing. What we are short on is money. Right, there's going to be overheads and power bills and things. What we're short on is money. But we have a PayPal address. Oh, hear me out, because this is where I bite you. But if anyone has 10 minutes in their life once a week to recycle their cans and drop them in a PayPal account, we would very much appreciate it. So at some point I'm going to get that PayPal account actually painted on the side of that cupboard so I can show you and remind you. But if you're getting 10 cents each for your cans and you're thinking, oh, this is $4, it is really not worth my while, we'd very much appreciate your $4 every week out of your cans if you're going to just cash them in, because the responsible thing is to recycle them anyway. So anyone who does that and doesn't desperately need the funds and thinks that $3 a week is a waste of time doing it, wait 2 weeks and get $6. And rather than mess around with vouchers or bank exchange and things, just drop them straight in our PayPal account. We'd very much appreciate it. So don't ask for very much, but I'm going to ask for that one. Membership and joining fees don't go. Peter, that's pretty true. You know, petrol money to cash in the cans. It's a bit like that, to be honest. That's awesome that they do. Tea and biscuit. Our steam club here is perpetually broke. The one up north, but we'll make it work. At some point. But I'm just saying that if you're recycling, in Australia you get 10 cents each for cans and bottles. So that's awesome. But if you're looking for somewhere that I think it's Shannondale.steamshed. Yeah, I can't remember. But at some point, watch this space, because I'll get a paintbrush out and I'll stick the PayPal address along there, along that wall, and you'll probably get it in frame occasionally and remind you. Yeah, there goes your 20 grand. DMB club traction engines. Yeah, that's the end of that. That sort of nearly pays the transport and the feasibility studies to get it home. What are you going to pay for it? Our Model Engineering Club, yeah, righto. We don't have the numbers and the people here, to be honest. It's sort of how it is. We're not in a locality where there is enough people to come along and join up to a club and actually make things worthwhile. Oh my gosh, I'm probably going to die here. You'll know it was worthwhile. So anyway, that's where we go. Anyway, no pressure on that one, but if you find that you're putting $4 into it, some pointless charity down the street, that football club or something, think of us instead. Anyway, so that's all that's happening in the shed. We've got that pretty well covered. That's all that's happening here in this in the spare room, really. There's 1,000 things to do, 1,000 projects. Over the coming weeks, you should see some of these actually go together and actually fit and work and stuff. But anyway, all good. There was supposed to be a big road run this weekend, and I'm a little bit glad there's not, because there's 1,000 things that needed to be done before then, and they didn't get done. Well, they did, but only sort of half done, some of them. Made a couple of pins to put the headstock back together too, in the steering gear, so that's another job I did yesterday. Anyway, we'll get all that ready to go. We've got a road run, I believe, on the 26th, 27th of July. I believe Dan's been home for a couple of nights, but I don't think he's home tonight. He's out on the road somewhere. At this point, we're having a road run for those days. It's too wet, too soon, too wet, too unhappy, too many birthdays and not enough people, all that sort of stuff. So there we go. So anyway, that's what's happening. Dan's been home for Sunday night. It's nice. Anyway, I might call back because that's kind of all sorted that out, and I'm a bit sleepy, to be honest, and I've still got a bit of a CAD job to do before I go to bed, I think, which is a pain. But anyway, it's a bit of a rush on that one. It might happen tomorrow night. We'll see how we go. I'd like to have it printed, and gosh, it's only tomorrow night to do it. If I get it CAD up, yeah. Anyway, thinking out loud there. Dan's loving the travel, by the sound of it. Anyway, that's what's happening, and it's all sort of it's all go, I guess. What else? Don't know. No, nothing else to report really. I think we've filled up the hour, and I don't know if we've actually made much progress on it. Don't think we solved any of the world's problems tonight, so sorry about that. I believe Bill's got a video to go out the middle of next week or something like that on a schedule. Has anyone else put a video out? I didn't see one from Nigel. There's no Itchy Boots content at the moment because she's doing a book tour. Maybe that's what I should be doing, is writing books. There we go. Couldn't write to save myself. Got nothing to write about. Anyway, Nigel, I hope, is getting better. Has anyone else got a video up that's worth watching? Probably you all have. Anyway, Dan's a bit over it. I'm a bit over it. That's how it is. I might go. Appreciate you all tuning in. Really appreciate that. It's awesome that there's 13 people actually watch this dribble. Don't do the super chat thing if you're going to donate money to the Steam Club, because that's a waste of money and YouTube gets it all. Don't do that. Anyway, just in case anyone was thinking it was a good idea, it's not. I don't even know why I've got it on there. Otherwise, if you are keen, I'll probably put that PayPal address in the comments section, or in the comment section of this video, and if anyone's keen, you'll know where to find it. But not a big deal either way. We'll get by and we'll get it working. But it's all a bit sort of daunting walking into it with basically nothing and about 5 or 6 members and sort of expecting to make it work. Anyway, it's all good. Be kind to each other. I'm going to call it. Thanks, guys, and more soon.